moment. Hey everyone. Hello, 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 hello. How are we all? Great dates, Katie, David, Tash, Chris, Charles. Milburn has just joined our team, Kylie.
Welcome.
Harry.
Dave, can you give us a thumbs up if you can hear us?
Great. Sophie, Clive, Leah, Heath, Harry. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. Can I get everyone on mute as you come on, please?
Oaksy.
Thank you. Lucy, on mute, please. Thank you. Heath, Katie, where are we at?
I'm just going to where you guys are. Oh, look out. Askew's online. Hello, young Heath. Been a while.
I don't think Heath's ever been this quiet.
He can't work out his microphone. That's why.
I'm driving. Hello, Kylie. Hello, Stokesy. What's happening?
Hey guys.
Are you being responsible? That'd be your first time in your life.
No, you know what I'm like, Kylie. You probably know me better. You probably know me longer than a lot of these people.
I'm surprised you've got any points left, hey?
Well, you know what I'm like. You know, I burn the candle at both ends.
So guys, we're just waiting for a couple of others to jump on. So
just to let you know, I may run out of reception sometimes. So if I vanish, it's not because you're boring me, okay, Kylie?
Right.
I'm not going to say a word to that.
Thank you, Heath.
Okay, hello, Jakey boy.
Hello, Heathy. How are you? Where
I
are
reckon just under Woolgoolga Creek Road, heading north to the Gold Coast.
Great, fantastic. Okay, we're going to kick off. We've pretty much got everyone on now. So thank you, team. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. We've got Kylie this morning. We're very, very, very fortunate. Kylie's got, obviously, as you know, years and years and years and years of experience running major offices and running major sales businesses.
You make me sound really old.
So we're very, very pleased to have her. So I'm going to let Kylie kick off. Team, we're going to keep everyone on mute for the whole time, and then what I'll do is I'll just keep questions till the end. Someone's not on mute, please. We'll keep questions till the end, and then what I'll do is I'll open up the floor to questions at the end. So kick it off, Kylie.
Yeah, hi guys. Look, just want to say thank you. It's really nice to be spending a bit more time with the sales team. Probably spent more time with leadership and management last year. So excited about spending some time with you every month when I come up. Just been sitting down this morning speaking with Jake and Dave about the year in review in January. And first thing I want to say is congratulations. Oh my goodness, what a 2021.
I know, crazy.
And a great January, guys. So I always like to give a bit of context. I've been to quite a few kickstarts in the last 3 weeks. Things are definitely slowed down in Sydney. I don't think it's a sign of the times. I just think, don't worry about it coming 12 months later up here, because I know that's the general trend. Shit, it's happening in Sydney. It's going to happen up here. It's not what I'm talking about. I just think because of the COVID and lockdowns, people just weren't making decisions in Sydney. So I think you guys are incredibly lucky when I look at your numbers for appraisals and deals in January. I've got offices that usually do like $1 million in GCI in Jan, and they've done one deal. Because people just haven't been making decisions. So you guys are in God's country. We all know that. And it's such an amazing opportunity for you in 2022. For those of you that I haven't met before, I did, I think, 2 sessions with the sales team last year. One was, I think in May, we did becoming the agent before you are appointed. And we worked on a dialogue for your appraisal call out. And then the other one we did, I think, was in July on brand.
Yeah.
So what we want to talk about today is to really get really get your vision set for the year ahead for the client experience. Oh, there's Charles.
Yeah, Charles is.
Hi, Charles. Welcome.
Hi, Kylie. How are you?
So wonderful to see. Charles and I used to work together at Dow Jones. So sorry, I got socially excited when I saw him online. So we'll have a catch up today, Charles. So guys, I just wanted you to understand the difference, I suppose, today from customer experience and client experience and customer service. So yesterday we had Upstate's Kickstart. Josh Vega, myself, and Alexander Phillips spoke, and the resounding theme yesterday was just how important this space is, and making sure that we understand the pillars of client experience, and the agents that really master this in the next couple of years are going to own market share, grow and scale. We've debated before what's important. Is it dialogue? Is it nurture? Is it follow-up? Is it speed? Is it social media? And it's different for everybody. So that's the one thing I want you to get from today is what we're talking about is probably 70% will land with you. And some of the stuff you'll just be like, God, I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. So it's like anything. You've got to find that works for you. But the one thing that I got out of Alexander's presentation yesterday was it is just doing the same thing and repeating it often, being consistent with it. And I think that's one thing in sales. We've got great processes and systems. We start in sales, we get really excited, and then we get complacent. Like, it's been a bloody good year, right? If you're not going to have a good year in real estate in 2021 and 2022, it's probably not going to happen. Different if you're a new cadet starting out trying to get momentum and make it happen. I actually think you guys are going to have a better year in 2022 because I think you're still going to have the migration coming. And I think I just see you guys improve your skill set all the time. So probably the established agents will understand a little bit more. My PowerPoint's frozen. Established agents will probably understand more the difference between customer service and client experience. But I want you guys to think about what you relate to customer service, and it's usually a one-off reaction, right? It's a one point in time. It's a reaction often. So a client might reach out to an EA or an admin, or might reach out to you and say, listen, can I get a copy of my marketing? Or you promised me the vendor report by 2:00 on Tuesday. I don't have it. And then it's how you react to that. That is a measure of customer service. It's usually one-to-one, whereas client experience is the overall journey from the beginning to the end. And I think we really need to change our mindset in real estate that there's an end point, because there shouldn't be an end point. And I know that some people only transact 3 times in their lives, but the point is, if we honestly put our hand on our heart and said that we kept in contact with people just 4 times a year, just quarterly, who had transacted with us, you'd never have to prospect again. But the problem is we get excited, we get distracted, we get overwhelmed. Has anyone felt a bit overwhelmed in the last 12 months with the number of buyers they've had to deal with? Or has everyone got that down pat? So guys, if you want to share any contact, up the top on your main menu, there's a chat feature. If you want to share that, share your comments as we're going for some good commentary. I think that would be important. Yeah. Jake, I can talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles, but could you do me a favor and just try and stop the share and reshare while I'm talking? Yes. So guys, what I really need everyone to understand as a team, and particularly now you've got the 12 offices and you've got all the synergies, is how incredibly important it is that we're all singing out of the same hymn sheet. And that comes back to your database as a central source of truth. So we had a rule at Di Jones, and the businesses that I see truly scale and realize lead generation potential are those that make sure that everything goes in and that you've got a truly essential view of the customer. It's so embarrassing when you've been speaking to a client. So say I ring Jake, he came to one of my opens on the weekend, and I go into a spiel about something, I quote him a fee, he's thinking about selling, and then he's talking to somebody else in the office. They don't put it in the database. We quote 2 different fees to sell his house. We both tell him that average days on market, someone says 17, the other one says 10. One of us says we're going to get him 800,000, the other person says 690. And Charles has heard me bang on about this for years, but that central view of the customer and, shit in, shit out people, what we put in there is so incredibly important. And we're going to talk about the pillars of client experience today. And I would love you all to photograph it. I'd love you all to have it on your desk, in your car. If you do nothing else this year, nail those 4 pillars, and I guarantee you'll get a 20% lift in your business with nothing else. The reason that I always have my team in the beginning of any of these PowerPoint presentations that I do is really to reinforce for you guys in sales, understanding swim lanes and understanding why those different functions are in the team for your customer. If you've got people in your team and you're a lead agent, or you've got an associate, or you've got an EA, where are you using best use of your time? Again, to refer back to Alexander Phillips yesterday, he doesn't let anybody else in his team do buyer callbacks, which I was just I was blown away by. So if they're his buyers, he does the calls, and they operate on their opens where they're the lead agent, and anyone that's his, that's a guarantee he gives to his client, is they will get Alexander Phillips. He said, because no one has influence and no one can qualify like I can. And I don't want somebody in my team that's a junior person to ring a buyer and not ask the right question or miss the right opportunity, because I'm going to miss the listing, or I might miss the right buyer. And we all know that dialogue is incredibly important, but I'm not going to go into dialogue today. That's not what the session's about. So I show my team for one reason. We are all responsible for client experience, like all of you are, but there's certain touch points and focus points when it comes to client experience that people are better at. So Millie in my team, for example, she's much softer, she's much nicer than me. And her whole role and all of her KPIs are around client experience. And I think one of the big things that you should all be writing down is how I hand over the property on the day. And sure, Jake and Dave will take care of certain company process, but that's your future pipeline and that's your future business. So what is the experience on settlement day or leading up? I've been doing some client experience benchmarking and surveys for clients in Sydney and Melbourne. And I've just been ringing back through with Millie and our team and asking everyone that transacted with offices in the last 12 months if they felt that they've got value for their fee, if they were guided through the process and what to understand next. 95% of buyers in belts like yours all said we didn't know what was going to happen next. And we were all too embarrassed to ring the agent, like even just a flow chart of, okay, you put your offer in, you've exchanged, this is what you can expect next. Pre-final settlement. Okay, tell us about pre-final. Well, no one rang us. We didn't even know that that was an option. So just looking at those little things that happen between exchange and settlement that as an agent, how is that going to affect them talking at a dinner party, netball, soccer, out on a boat with friends and family on the weekend? If someone says, I'm thinking of selling, how was your recent experience with Elders Lifestyle Group? We're letting ourselves laughing behind here because I'm no good with technology and Jake's giving me a stir up. Righto, I've got it now.
Okay,
all right.
great,
Is that
good,
okay?
Fantastic.
We're going the right way?
We're all okay. No. Hit there. Just hit there, okay? Or just get me to
Just a
I'll do
great
it.
client experience. Okay. So guys, this year I want you to get better at being better. I want you to write down the one thing now before we start talking about anything that you're really poor at when it comes to client experience, and you know that it's a weakness and you're like, oh shit, if I just bought the house and that happened to me, or I just sold through us, that really doesn't sit with me well. And one of the examples that came up yesterday at Upstate was that 2 weeks after settlement, just to ring and see how everyone's going, because you know it's going to be, there's keys missing for this, or the signboard's not down. You kind of dread the call, but you're doing more damage to yourself if you're actually not making the call. And then is, have you set those activity schedules up within your agent box for what works for you? And I know that agent box have done that with you. And if you're not sure how to do that, then you either speak to Jake or you go to agent box and you just Google activity schedules. Wendy's the queen of them. But just what for you are the 2 things that you want to happen between exchange and settlement that you're not doing, and after settlement, build it in as an automatic reoccurrence and it'll come up in your to-do list. You won't even have to think about it. And maybe you're just going to set up an automated email that goes to them to say, Charles, been thinking of you 2 weeks since you settled. I can't believe how time flies. Just wanted to check and make sure the signboard's down, because that's the number 1 complaint, that you've got everything that you need for the property. And is there any questions or anything I should go back to the client with? As an example. So what's going to change for you in 2022? What stays the same? What are you really good at in client experience? What are you really good at? What are you going to stop doing that provides little or no value, but has been on your checklist for 20 years because it's always been there? And can it be replaced with automation or technology? And you're not sure. You might have to ask Wendy, or you might have to ask Taylor, or someone in the business. I got some new names this morning. Tash. You might ask them how you can do it better and be more efficient. But recognize now, guys, you're not competing with the best customer experience that anyone's ever had in real estate. You are fundamentally competing with the best client experience anyone's ever had in any industry. So if you think about when I bought a latest car, or I went to a beautiful hotel, like I had a link up this morning with Dave, and he's telling me about this hotel he loves to stay at in Brisbane and why it's amazing and blah, blah, blah. That is no different in your industry. You know, we bang on about we're the local trusted advisor. Yet if I said to you today, and I know there's a few people sitting out here that are going to be giving me the bird going, Kylie, we know, we're the 1st of Feb, 2nd of Feb. How many properties have sold in your core market since 1 January? So for the first 30, 31 days of 2022, how many properties have sold? What's the average time on market? What's the median price? And how is that different to the last 90 days of 2021? And is it different? And if you don't know that, then you can't be trusted as the local trusted advisor because you don't know your shit. So like yesterday, again, Alexander, because I was just in awe of his presentation yesterday, the guy's a machine. Holy moly. His numbers were amazing. And he spends at his level every morning, 30 minutes researching what happened the day before on the market. Every single morning before he opens his emails. Because he said, no one knows market conditions and the market's not operating better than I do. He said, and I can say that, trust. He said, and what that means is I can educate a buyer, influence a buyer, and get more out of them than any other agent in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. So have a think about, you know, that conviction and that closing technique. Guys, don't think for 1 minute. We all say everyone wants to choose an agent. We know how much they're going to get us, and they want to know how much it's going to cost us. And we kind of go in telling ourselves that story. And 500%, that is important. You know, if we're going to sell one of our properties, we want to know what our agent is going to get us and what their fee is going to be. But we all know that if the agent provides value and has dialogue, like I was just talking about, and it's Alexander Phillips or whoever your top performers are in your office, that they're probably going to win the business. But if you're not demonstrating that, then you're probably up shit creek. And I got to tell you, the thing that hit me yesterday was when I was sitting in the room and Alexander Phillips walked in and he had a business shirt on. And this isn't right for your market. I'm not saying this. He had French cuffs on. He had cufflinks, cleanly shaved. Hair was immaculate. Shoes you could have seen your face in. And before he even opened his mouth, I was like, oh yeah, I'd list with you. 7 seconds is all you've got, guys. So what's your attire? And I always say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. That is a part of the client experience. They don't want someone that stinks, that's not shaved, that's got shitty shoes, that's got high heels with chips off the back of them. So Adam, you have to put your high heels away. So just making sure that you are a game on, guys, when you're going in is a part of the client experience. Because if you go to a heart surgeon and you've got to have a triple bypass and you go in and they've got the shirt, you know, all out, their hair's a mess, there's shit all over their desk, the first thing you think is, God, I don't know that they're the man or the woman for the job. It is no different with you. But please, 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 please understand your client actually wants to feel appreciated. And I did this presentation the other day with Rick Soreo's team at Double Bay, and I was so embarrassed when I said this slide, and I owned it. I did sales for 17 years, and I don't think I ever, this is so embarrassing, after I signed an agency agreement in the lounge room, I would go straight into next steps and what's going on. And you'd say, look, you know, really excited about the business. I'm partnering with you. I don't think I actually ever looked anyone in the eye and said, Jake, thank you so much for entrusting me with the sale of your family home. I don't take for granted 1 minute what that means to make that decision. I will not let you down, and you have my team's firm commitment. I'm truly grateful. It sounds dumb, right? But being sincere, and there's many of you that probably do that. That's where I, you know, was my weakness. They want to feel appreciated, guys. They do not want a new best friend. So I had a salesperson that worked for me in Tamworth in my 20s, and she used to come back, missed listening presentations. Her conversion rate was shocking. And she'd say, oh, I missed it, X, Y, and Z, but I got a really nice box of chocolates. I'd be like, well, I would have rather the 20 grand fee, but whatever floats your boat. So they don't want a best friend. Yes, you've got to build rapport and you've got to have trust, but they want to feel appreciated and they want you to be sincere in it. They can smell bullshit a mile away. They want to be confident in the decision they're making. And guys, they're only going to be confident in you if you know your stuff. So have you had a chance to do that health check with the guys yet?
No.
So Jake's got a health check he might do with you in the next couple of weeks. Fundamentally, it's the 20 key drivers of good agents for success. 12 of those are a non-negotiable for you to be an 8 or more out of 10 to be competitive in your local market. And that's where the confidence comes in. You know, when you buy something, and there's a few of you that are good hustlers in this team, you go to buy something and you're like, oh, this salesperson's in trouble here because I'm better at negotiations than they are. Don't think for 1 minute that some of your vendors don't know that as well. When they're trained in what we're trained in, they want contentment, so that over communication is incredibly important. You know, back to that appraisal training we did last year. The agenda and the calendar invite, such a basic thing. But after you book the meeting, have you sent them a calendar invitation? Has it got an agenda in it? And why the hell haven't you stalked them on social media? So I don't know if anyone knows Melinda and Andrew Blake on the Northern Beaches. Andrew was top performer for 20 odd years with Ray White. Now they've gone out on their own as an independent. I did some work for them the other day. And this is a prime example of what our customers think. Melinda and Andrew bought a rental property in Newcastle. They've been renovating it. They called in some agents. There was one agent that had a, you know, you could book your appraisal online, and they thought, fantastic, put us in control. We like that. We'll see what happens. So they filled it in, got a confirmation text, put straight into, and a calendar invite straight to their calendar, but crickets, nothing from anyone. So a great client experience in their own time at 11 o'clock at night, but then nothing back. Then get this, both highly experienced agents, the agent comes in, 4 of them, and just spews at them, like talks to them, verbal diarrhea. No one asked them any questions. No one had thought to look them up on LinkedIn, Facebook, or any social media channels to find out that Andrew's in the top 5% of agents in Australasia, and Melinda runs one of the tightest property management ships I've seen in my life. And they go in and they're pitching to Melinda about PM. So then she says, what would I have to do to get more than what you've quoted me on my property? And the agent says, in a rising market, in a rental housing shortage, oh, we couldn't get you more money. No qualifying questions around. So A, it made her feel like shit that she asked the question, and she said, and I'm experienced at what I do. And she said there was no, well, what does that look like? What's the number that you have in mind? How much more? Why do you think that that would be the case? So Melinda put a private real estate ad on realestate.com and leased it for $150 a week more than what all the agents locally told her. And this is what's going to happen if we don't make our customers feel confident in the decision they're making and engage in conversation and build that loyalty and trust and have a conversation. So all those agents have missed out. So we've got to remember that. They want to feel respected as well and heard. And she didn't feel respected and she didn't feel heard. If you're pitching to someone that runs their own small business or big business, they know, they're not dumb. You know, we just don't need to go in and present our agenda and talk to them. We need to engage and find out what they want.
What's important to them.
And what's important to them. Let them be heard, let them be understood. So like you guys to take a photo of that, have it on your phone, and before you go into a listing presentation, while you've got the agenda that's gone to the customer, how much are we going to get you? What are we going to charge you? Marketing strategy, pricing strategy, next steps, questions. We all know how it goes. This is your internal agenda for you. You need to be ticking off all those things so your customer feels good. Then they're going to trust you. If you tick off all those things, they'll trust you. If someone trusts you, what will they do? You got a high chance to convert. Now, here's your pillars. Heaps of research done on this. Harvard, lots of work done on this. Customers want relevant information to them. Who did open homes on Saturday? Hands up. Who's done any opens in last week? Yep, cool. Did anyone meet a buyer that is going to transact in the next 30 days if they find something they like? Hands up. Fantastic. I want you to grab out your app, your Agent Box app while I'm talking on your phone. And I want you to think of probably the burning hot best buyer you met in the last week. And I want you to look up their name in Agent Box for me. Then I want you to scroll down and I want you to have a look at their criteria. Because what happens in our industry, I go through an open home with Jake on the weekend. He's quoting it at 650 to 700. I automatically get pinned to your database to that price. So when you guys do your call, but Charles is like, God, I'm sick of her talking about this. when you do your callbacks, Saturday or Monday or whenever you do them, the first thing you need to do is scroll down when you're talking to that client and just say, at Elders Lifestyle Group, we're a little bit different to local competitors. We want to make sure that while we try and partner with you during your property journey, we actually send you stuff that's relevant. We don't be those agents that spam you out stuff. God, how annoying is that? Can I just double check, Charles, that I've got your details right? You came through a property with us on the weekend that we're quoting at 650 to 7. Is that in line with your budget?
And Kylie going through and me auditing the database as I do, I reckon there's 10% in the group that do that.
Yeah. Guys, we fixed this, and Charles can be testament to this at the previous organisation that we worked at. That centralised database and fixing this stuff dished up 15 to 20 appraisals a week for our guys through cross referral. Because when you go in, I go, oh, I spoke to Jake, his price wasn't right. He's actually got a house in Crescent Head and he's thinking of selling and he's moving to Lismore, as an example. But if you don't put that in, how do you know? And then when you start doing that, we can actually dish up all these leads for you. So we only want to send you relevant stuff. Does anyone use their unsubscribed database for prospecting? The best form of prospecting that you guys can do is ask your admin team who in the last week has unsubscribed from my database. And then you can ring and say, hey, Alison, it's Kylie calling from Elders Lifestyle Group. I just noticed that you unsubscribed from our database. I'm mortified. Have you been getting stuff from us that's not relevant to you? Oh, yes, I've bought, so I don't need to look anymore. Great. Where did you buy? Oh, yes, I know that property. That's great. Fantastic listing. Blah, blah. Well, now that you're a local homeowner on Lighthouse Beach, just wondering if we could send you our local market report twice a year that we do. We find that local residents find it of great value when assessing what their current home is worth. Market's already up 5% on last quarter last year. I can't believe it. It's a different conversation, and your unsubscribes are getting shit that is not relevant to them. That's why they're unsubscribing. So find out why they're unsubscribing. Everyone loves property. And if they're a buyer, they want to know what's going on in the market. And if they're a homeowner, generally, they want to know what's going on in the market. But it's all about your delivery and your connection and your ability to influence them to provide value. Convenient. So you've got to have accessibility and easeability. So do you guys do pest and building and put on?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a cracker. I'm working with an agent the other day. I was just mortified because I've been coaching him for 12 months. So it's half my fault. He should know better. We're sitting down looking at his stuff before an auction. And I'm like, okay, who's had a pest and building report during the campaign? I don't know. Sarah hasn't given me that. I'm like, what do you mean Sarah hasn't given you that? Like in his team, right? I said, you should know how to go in and look at that. So when you're contacting buyers back, if someone's downloaded a pest and building, heads up, they're pretty bloody keen. Who's downloaded a contact? Or my favorite friend of mine went to a house the other day in Balmain, lives 2 doors down from the house that's on the market. Registered to go to the open before the open. Get there. Oh, hello, name. I pre-registered. Oh, it hasn't come through. Sorry. Well, I did that to save time. Oh, we'll have to get it again. Is that all right? Oh, you're a local resident. Yes, I live nearby. Not where do you live nearby? Why are you thinking about moving? 4 days till they got an open home call back. And ever since they went through, they've been sent information in a price bracket they're not looking in. Do you reckon that agent's ever going to get that house for sale? And reliability. If you ring someone and you spend the time, guys, prospecting your little heart out and you come back from New Year and you're like, I'm on it, I'm going to do it. And you get all these people to commit to quarterly market reports or a market update. And you do not record that they want a regular market update. How are you going to remember that? And then what happens next time? So Harry rings me, signs me up to his database. He sends me a market report and it's shit hot. And I'm like, great, an agent who's delivered. I actually got a market report that's relevant. I like it. He's sending it every quarter. June comes. June, July, or friggin' Harry, typical agent, doesn't execute. And then what happens? Harry comes back next year and he's all excited again. He goes, right, I'm going to ring the database. Rings up and says, Kylie, we send out a quarterly market report. And what do I say? No, thank you. Because you've broken the trust. Now, Harry, I know you'd never do that, but that reliability, guys, is incredibly important. And the fourth key pillar of client experience is speed. Sorry, guys, you are in a fast market and I know it's stressful because I have you all for clients and the attention span of an agent is like an ant. So if I'm in a consult and you ring me and I haven't rung you back in 3 minutes, I've got 3 texts, someone's run my EA, I'm like, fuck's sake, I'm on site with a client. So controlling the expectations, guys, of your clients when they're all about speed is incredibly important. So we've spoken about this before, but for those of you that are new to the group, if you are in lockdown in a meeting like this, or you've got a kickstart, or you're doing something with Jake, or it is midweek opens or Saturday opens, I want you to go to your phone and I want you to hit greeting and I want you to say, hi, you've reached Alison from Elders Lifestyle Group. Unfortunately, I'm able to take your call at the present time. I've got 7 open homes today, and a courtesy of the people that are attending the opens and my clients, I'll be returning calls in between opens or after 4 o'clock. Please be patient. Because we really do forget about how much we are on the phone as an agent. And it's such not a good look when someone comes through the open and you're on the phone. And make a big deal about it when you're going to the listing presentation, right? Oh, I'm just gonna turn this off. I'll make sure we don't want to get interrupted and fold it over. So and a couple of agents say, well, we don't even take it in. I'm like, perception's reality, people. Take it in, use it, and let them know that you're not going to take the call because you might need it to demonstrate the Agent Box app and how it works. So you might need that as a visual or the Core Logic RP Data Pro that shows the graphs and the trends. But the one thing I want you to do is every time you list a property, I need you to ask the client how they want to be communicated with. Because what you all do, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you create a WhatsApp group. Who creates a WhatsApp group? Put your hand up. No one. Don't do WhatsApp groups. No one does a WhatsApp group to communicate with their clients. Hey guys, for those of you that know me pretty well now, I'm pretty black and white, so please don't take this the wrong way. If you ever do a Zoom call with me, put your camera on. Otherwise, I think you're taking a piss and you're not on the call. So if that's okay with everyone, providing you're not nude, can you please pop your camera on? Then we actually know that you're not online, that you are actually online. Would that be okay? Yeah, thank you. So no one does WhatsApps. I'm amazed by that. That's fantastic. Because what happens is...
Kylie,
yeah.
it's David. What about text? I just use text. I'm using that quite regularly with my clients. Why would you need to use WhatsApp? What's the difference?
Oh, my point is, if we said to a client, what is your preferred method of communication?
Yeah, okay.
During the campaign. So for example, for me, I'm like, do not send me a text. Like I get hundreds of officers texting me all week. If you want me, ring me after 6.
Yep.
So I think it's just putting the customer in control, right? They want to feel confident. They want to feel heard. Is just like, David, during the course of the campaign, I want to make sure I'm communicating with you in the most effective way that's convenient to you and your family. Often I do text, and most of my clients are pretty happy with that. And then we'll catch up once a week for our vendor meeting. Is that okay? And then I think for you guys at the moment that are dealing with a lot of stock and you've got a market that's still in a boom, and I think is going to be in a boom for the next 2 years, is setting that expectation from the beginning about what happens during your week. So guys, if you ring me, I'll try and come back to you, but I have midweek open homes on Wednesday. So when you do your set to sell meeting, I have midweek opens on Wednesday and I'm carrying 10 listings at the moment. So Wednesdays might be a little bit tricky. Saturdays, I'll always ring you back within what is it with your opens? Do you ring immediately after? Do you text immediately after? Do you ring all your clients after 4 o'clock that afternoon? You know, when I was in sales, and I'm not saying this is right, I would set all my vendor meetings like I did my open home meetings. So we'd do the time for the signboard and we'd do the time for the vendor meeting, and it would stay the same time for the entire campaign. And I think for you guys at the moment, doing that around Zoom and Teams or FaceTime is incredibly important, because you can record those meetings and you can upload it and save it in the CRM. And it's just as good as your vendor report. Probably company policy that you do the vendor report.
Absolutely.
But the point is, you've got some correspondence, and, you know, agents traditionally aren't great at the shit they put into their vendor report. It's usually a template. Please read that template and amend it and change it. But asking the clients about how they want to be communicated with, and then judging people around speed. So the high D personalities that want something done yesterday, if they ring or text you, you better get to them pretty bloody quickly, as opposed to someone that, you've probably got 3 or 4 hours. And I don't know if you remember some of the questions we asked that help you decide what personality somebody is. So the best one is, so tell me about your home. Now, Kylie would say 4 bedrooms, double brick garage. Someone that's a bit fluffier, that is more conversational, might say, we've got the white picket fence out the front and we remodeled and we had a landscaper come in and put those beautiful roses out. Last year we painted the hallway, and off they go. Generally, those people allow more time because they take more of your time. So really important from the start that you set up who the decision maker is, which I know you're all really good at, but importantly, speed. So relevance, only send them stuff that's relevant to them, or you're a pain in the ass. Make sure it's convenient, but you've got to set that expectation, how you're going to communicate with them, how they're going to communicate back. If I said to you today, what's on your website or what's on your social media channels, if I'm thinking of selling, that you could send me, that would provide me relevance, it would be a reliable source, but I could access it in my own time if you sent me the link. So there's stuff on your website and there's stuff on your social media. It also drives people back to your ecosystem, but it adds value, but it's convenient to them. You sent them a link. So what I would do is, if I was nurturing appraisals, for example, I'd have a folder in the left-hand side of my inbox that was called Nurture Materials. And it might be links to CoreLogic. It might be National Housing Market. It might be REA's market snapshot. It might be blogs on your website. It might be information on Elders' overall website, which they've actually got amazing content on insights and blogs. And you just pick and choose out of there with the links. That's relevant to their property journey. You're providing that to them in a time that they can look, it's reliable, and you're doing and delivering it at speed. Any questions so far?
Questions that are coming through. Let's have a look.
Did you sense my sense of speed, guys?
Sorry, camera not working, working. I'm naked. All right, guys, let's keep
naked. Excellent. Put your camera on. Report that to Lee if I've offended anybody.
Any questions, guys? All right,
Okay.
Let's keep going.
I think, guys, too, is if you think about this morning, I want you to look back through your phone, and I want you to think about a text message, a phone call, or an email that you sent a client. And I want you to think about how it landed. Now, again, from these customer experience surveys that we're doing with clients, the most common things I see from agents, because you're on the run and you're busy, is responding to emails or texts when you're driving or when you're, when you're just not concentrating. So prime example is I live in Willoughby, very competitive marketplace. We've got John McManus, we've got the Cavmac boys, we've got Rara Norman, Denny Grant until recently, who's just started a new, highly competitive marketplace. And Martin Ford. So we, the office that engaged us there, wanted to know how quickly their team responded to phone calls, emails, and online inquiry. Now, what I've got to tell you is the fastest response time, they shouldn't have responded at all because it was more damage than it was worth. Spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, didn't make, yet the person that took 7 minutes, average response time, started with, "Dear Dave, thanks so much for your inquiry and for reaching out. And I know it sounds fluffy, but you will stand out." Email some of your competitors from a BS email and have a look at what I'm talking about. They don't have their email signature turned on from their phone, so it looks like shit. You guys are really good at copying and forwarding stuff and leaving all the lines down the side on the email, like what to do at auction and stuff like that you've sent to a million other people. It looks horrendous and it looks like it's come out of a factory. But yeah, that average response time and speed is incredibly important. So just remembering when people reach out, it's not always what you said or you did, but it's how you make them feel. And the best thing you can do for that, in our experience with what we've been doing, is repeat their name 3 times if you can, if not twice. So in the opening and then in the closing. So dear David, and at the end, David, if there's anything else that we can do to help you during your property journey, and we're still at 47% non-response. Phone call now, which is new, and email. If Richard Branson comes to town and finds a solution for that, you're in trouble. So what are you out of 10? We've talked about client experience. We've talked about what clients want. We've had a look at what you're going to start doing, what you're going to stop doing, what you might implement. What are you out of 10? If everyone's feeling brave, if you can pop it in the chat box. And I'll again own it. I'm quite happy to own stuff when I don't do it well. I think our client experience with our clients, like say Dave, for example, our principals that engage us is pretty good. We've got a net promoter score of 9 and we've got all 5-star Google reviews. However, you can always get better at being better. Now, how's this for dumb? We have the retreats that we do at the Hunter Valley and Dungarn Station. I know people prefer drinks. I know what sort of pillow they like to sleep on. I know what their favorite food is. I know if they wanted yoga or boxing on their preferences. And up until yesterday, I had not put that in our database. Like that is a pretty dumb thing, right? So if you're meeting a client for coffee, what I do now with all my principals is every time I meet a client for coffee, I save their coffee order in their contact card. And every time they sit down with me, their coffee's waiting for them. It is the 1%ers that make a difference when it comes to client experience. How's this one? 66% of customers reside having to repeat themselves when they're dealing with real estate agents. They feel like they're being spammed, and that's why they're unsubscribing, because they're not feeling heard. So I don't think there's anything wrong when you're doing prospecting calls, and if Jake disagrees, please jump in, is when you're ringing people, is getting that dialogue right around updating their details in the database, because it is really awkward when you haven't. I've been there, right? I know. You're like, you look at your list like, oh shit, sold them that house 3 years ago and I haven't rung them. Own it. It's got to match your personality, but like I'd ring and say, oh, Jake, it's Kylie from Elders. Do you remember me? You probably don't. Sold you the house 3 years ago. Haven't heard from me. I don't hide behind it, because they're on the other end of the phone going, oh, yeah, here she goes. Low on stock, wants a listing. I'm going to ask you to think about this in the next 90 days and then circle with Jake and or Dave on it. What are you sending out and when? Is it convenient to you because you're ticking a box, or is it when the customer wants to receive it? Have you streamlined your process and automation? So you've heard me say this before. If you're repeating something often, build it for scale. So how many times in the last 6 months have you told a buyer what they need to do when thinking of bidding at auction? Do a 30-second video on it, save it on your bloody phone and send it to the buyers before the auction. Make sure that you realize in the next 6 months that your greatest strengths are your greatest weakness, and play to those strengths, and make sure that you either replace technology, resources, further training, or people with the things that you're not good at. And that will give you better client experience because you have more time. Does anyone feel overwhelmed in sales in spring? I've never had so many clients break and just not get to Christmas because it was just a really hard year. So you've got to be like a well-oiled machine. I hate to talk about Alexander Phillips again yesterday. He plans his days in 15-minute increments. And if someone wants to get a meeting with him that's not a client, you got Buckley's of getting longer than 15, and he never accepts a meeting without an agenda. Sound familiar? We've spoken about this before. So why should your clients accept a meeting with you if they don't know what you're going to talk about? What's important to them? My meeting with Dave this morning, state of play. What's important to you? What are your challenges? What are your concerns? How can I help you with the team today on site? We're all busy. And do you meet their needs and expectations, and will you get used again? And how do you know that? What's the benchmark for that? And I know the business is doing a lot of exciting stuff around that with client experience, and Jake and Tash and Dave have been working on that. But for you in the meantime, what's your benchmark? Do you ring a client a month after settlement and just circle in? Hey, Dave, just wanted to know how they go. I ask Dave that every quarter. Sometimes it's not fun. But, you know, like our end of year meeting at 2021, Dave, how did we perform? What are regrowth doing well? What aren't we doing well? Where have I let you down, and where can I be better? Why are we so scared of asking that question? Because it's only going to be good stuff that comes, right? And you've got to own it. If there's a common theme, perception's reality. If it's a one-off, then it's that bloody nutter that sits in your 80-20, right? So if there's a common theme or you keep missing appraisals, find out why, guys, please. Does this blow anyone's mind? I look at that and get a migraine, right? I asked my EA to put it together. When she put it together, I said, it looks like shit. I can't use that. And she said, because she's been well trained, well, what's the purpose of you delivering that, Kylie? And I said, I want them to feel like the customer's really confused about ratings and reviews platform. And she said, well, I think it does its job. So this is all the stuff that we're sending out to people, right? Rate My Agent, realestate.com, Google reviews, leave us a review on Facebook. What is the one that the business is using? Like, what is the one that's important? Or are we letting our customers decide where to, are we giving them choice about where they want to leave the review? By the way, guys, 70% of people will want to leave it on Google. So how I've put this is in order in Australasia of the highest preferred customer ranking platforms. You want to see where Rate My Agent is? It's an industry thing, right? If it's a part of your strategy, again, I'm not here to shit can Rate My Agent. All I'm saying is that it's about the customer and where they want to be and where they want to review. It is pretty hard to compete with the SEO budget of Google. So if we know that more than 60% of Australasians are searching for an agent on Google, why would we not push Google? And obviously, when you've got prospective sellers, I think, you know, REA are doing pretty well at the moment, and there's some good leads coming out of that as well. And then down the bottom, I believe you guys are on one of these platforms anyway. It's probably just making sure everyone really understands the, you know, the power and the strength of that. But be very careful to know what the company is sending out and what you're sending out. I was in an office the other day. The agent is sending out Rate My Agent. His EA is sending out the rankings on REA, and the office is sending out Google. I don't know how you think that lands with the customer. It wouldn't float very well with me. I know I bang on about social all the time, and I'll say it again for those that are new on the phone. If you are established in real estate and you've got momentum and you've got good profile, then I actually think social media is a distraction, right? If you are building your career and you have not reached your potential and you've got a way to go to catch the top riders and the top competitors in your area, you sure as hell better focus on it and watch what's going on from a client experience point of view. And if people are putting up reviews and ratings around you, you actually need to be engaging with Laura in marketing and saying, what's going up? Like, if I'm ever mentioned, can you please let me know? Because I want to be across that. I want to know how to respond. So the business has got a strategy on that. What's your strategy? You get one brand in this lifetime, guys. You cannot buy it back. And we're all going to get bad reviews. You know, some of the best agents I coach get 1 reviews. It's how you respond at speed, how transparent you are, and how authentic you sound in trying to overcome the problem. This is a cracker story. Does anyone know this? This is a guy in the front with the blue check shirt. Have you heard this story? No. We haven't got time to watch it today because I get really passionate about client experience. We're going to run out of time. But he was really famous band in the States. And anyway, long story short, they're on a flight. His guitar falls off the plane. He's sitting on the plane. He's like, holy shit, that's my guitar. It's just smashed all over the bloody tarmac. The baggage handler throws it back in the case, puts it on the conveyor belt, and it goes up into the plane. So he gets off at the airport and goes up and says, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened. I want to put in a complaint. I want X amount back for my guitar. The lady who's clearly never owned her own business and just picks up a paycheck every week says, sorry, we're the carrier for the airline. We subcontract to them, just a bit like, I suppose, Jetstar and Qantas. When you get to your other destination, you'll need to go to the counter and you'll need to fill in a form. And then it's a 2-week processing time and we'll come back to you. And he's like, well, that's not good enough. So he gets to the other airport, lines up, big line, long story short, 3 hours at the airport, gets the form, 3 weeks, but nothing. So he rings, on hold for a long time. Yes, sir, we'll get it. Nothing. Anyway, this goes on for 3 months. He's like, screw this. Says to the band, let's write a song about how United Airlines have got shit client experience. Publicly listed company, 1.4 billion off their share price in 36 hours.
Wow.
So don't think that this client experience is fluffy and it's bullshit. It doesn't apply to you. We now have the internet. Social platforms, incredibly important. By the time I walked out of Upstate's Kickstart yesterday, I had a heap of text messages from people in different states around, oh, how was Alexander Phillips? I'm like, what? What? People spread the word. I mean, years ago, you go to training and they'd say, oh, I have a bad experience to tell 100 people. I mean, I don't know how many that is now. So making sure that you're across bad reviews when they come in and that you are game on, because this will make the difference to you becoming a really exceptional agent. There's only a couple of little 1%ers with client experience, and you guys are a good outfit, right? You're super professional. You spend a shitload in marketing. You've got great collateral, and you're all really professional agents. And you've got a very high benchmark for GCI. So we've got a high performance ethos, which usually means that people are pretty happy with the client experience. But I just want to sort of summarize and wrap with this. It's the 1%ers of client experience that make the difference. It's the relationship first and foremost, and how you make them feel. So when they come and pick up their settlement gift, if I hear of anybody in this industry sending out their receptionist, their EA, and this happens all the time, right? Guilty of it when I was in sales, and then I had my ass kicked, which was good, and then I changed it. Have someone coming in to buy the house who you want to list their home, right? That you don't ring for 3 years. They come in and you say to your assistant, oh, I've left the keys here and the present for Charlie and Mary. They're coming in today at 11. Get off your bloody ass and go out the front and give it to them yourself and make it an experience. Has anyone ever bought a Mercedes or a Porsche or been to Hermes in Sydney? It is an experience. So what is your handover at settlement? Is it an experience? Is it memorable? Guy we spoke to the other day, this was so funny. He bought a house off someone in West Pennant Hills. This is the client calls we're doing. So funny. He said, I went in and picked up my settlement gift. He said, to start with, it was a pain in the ass because I do shift work. And he said, it just would have been so nice for the agent to say to me, we know you're a shift worker. Can we bring the keys to you? He said, nah, it wasn't offered. He said, and then I get in there. He said, and this tool in his tight suit says to me, can I get a photo with you? And he says, no, mate, you can't. I don't even have a photo with my best mates. I hate it. He said, then he gave me a friggin' candle and champagne. He said, I'm a beer man. He said, no, I don't like candles. They're for pansies. But my point is just being a bit relevant for your customer and knowing what they want and how it wants to be delivered. Some people might, I love candles, but think about what is relevant for your customer. And then, we asked for kids. Oh, Jake, can your kids get in the photo with me? I don't know them. And be very, women can get away with this.
Their kids on social media.
Yeah, correct. And women, unfortunately, can get away with this a little bit easier. It's not as creepy as for a woman. And I'm not, politically correct or what. It's just common sense. I'd be more likely to get my kids to jump in a photo with a female agent than I would be a man. Don't ask me why that's, and I'm not burn the bra or anything like that. It's being respectful of people's boundaries. And if you've had a great relationship with the kids the whole way along and you've involved them, different story. And how you conduct your opens and being present and truly being different. If you haven't been to competitors' open homes in the last 12 months, I'd love you guys to go and start doing some mystery shopping at your competitors' opens while stock's building in the new year to see how they do it. Because to be honest with you, and I'm not saying this is the way at Elders Lifestyle Group, when I go and mystery shop open homes, often there's not a lot of difference. And I've seen your toolkit, the did you know cards, the stuff that you're supposed to have on the table, the music you're supposed to have on, the lights, how you greet somebody, and importantly, how they leave. So Jake, thanks so much for coming through today. Can I just ask if you're researching the market or are you a buyer? Rather than, thanks so much for coming through, Jake. How'd you go? Or worse, thanks so much for coming through. What the? Like, seriously, let's get some qualification when they leave if they're buying and selling or they're researching. Is there anything else that our group might have open today that you think you might be interested in having a look at? That's got to lead to what they're looking for. So do we all have each other's open homes for the entire group? Not just Port Macquarie, the entire group at your open homes, because there's strength in numbers. And my God, knowing how we grew the brand that I was at previously based on those strength in numbers, don't assume that your customers know that you've got 12 offices. You've got to tell that story and you've got to tell the customer what's in it for them. We have got more stock than any other agent outside metropolitan Sydney in our core market. Because you have. No one else can compete with that. And don't forget that with your vendors as well. You have got more buyers than any other real estate agent outside metropolitan Sydney and New South Wales and any other brand. Holy shit, if I worked at Hookers down the road, I would want that dialogue if I went into sales tomorrow. But please make sure your subscriptions are up to date, your criteria is right. Please create memorable moments because you want to be that agent of choice. But you really got to sit back and go, oh, okay, it might be a couple of things today where I need to lift the game. And I'm not talking about people that are on this call that are in the prime of their career that have been selling for 10, 15, 20 years. You've probably got it nailed. But in my experience, I've been doing this 27. I've given you 3 examples today how Kylie Walsh can get better at client experience and improve that for my customer. So hopefully you all got something from that today. We're halfway through this client experience. I'd love to finish it next time. I came up with some more dialogue and just some really quick wins that are practical. I don't want to give you guys more work, right? But that one down the bottom, I'd really love you before you go to your next thing. Last 5 emails, calls or transactions, messages, inspections that you've done, pre-finals, photo shoots or auctions. Think about the client experience. And please think about how you treat your trades. Because when I was in sales, and again at Di Jones, that was one of our biggest source of referrals. Your cameraman, your videographer, your site plan, your drone, they list and sell property and they've got family that list and sell property. You need to be getting referrals from your solicitors and your trades. And if you're not, I'd probably ask why. You guys had an awesome 2021. I can't wait to see what you do in 2022. Thank you for giving me an hour of your time, particularly on Zoom, salespeople on Zoom for an hour. I'm amazed. Very, very grateful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kylie. That was incredible. Does anyone have any questions quickly? I think we'll stop. If you do go off,
I'm going to do a photo. Yes. Everyone wave. Social opportunity. Everyone give me a wave, except people that are nude. Oh, David, you're my favorite gold stamps today. Engaged and proactive, I tell you.
Questions?
Oh, stop it.
Well, we've got Kylie. Anyone? No.
Obviously, just to say thank you so much. And it'll probably take me a little while to digest everything, but thank you.
Just do one thing, Harry. Thank you for your feedback. Don't do too much, right? Just think about it. You don't have to do anything. Just think about it. Making sure that you're making people feel a bit better when they're touched by Harry Wilson. Do you know what I mean? That sounds dirty. It's not when you're touched by Harry Wilson. When
I'll
people
make sure they're
interact
over
with
18.
you-
It's all good.
Let's just go pear shaped. I'm going to have Lee in there. I'm going to do a performance review meeting in a minute. Just thinking about the memorable moments and how you make someone feel is probably the best thing you can do when it comes to client experience. It's a big transaction for someone. And I think because we do it all the time, we get in the habit. Yeah, we do. And, you know, me being a shit agent and not looking someone in the eye and being really sincere about truly being grateful when someone's entrusting me with their family home is embarrassing. But I think because we do it all the time, we take it for granted, and we shouldn't.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. See you all out there.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye,